Another day of disruption in courts today. Lots of people with no solicitors to represent them because of a row between them and Justice Minister Jim O'Callaghan over how they're paid to provide free legal aid. Under the old system, solicitors were paid for each court appearance by a client, €240 for the first one and €60 after that. But the Minister says this acted as an incentive for solicitors to look for more adjournments, to get more days in court and more money. He's introduced a flat fee model where solicitors will get paid €520 regardless of how many times they appear in court. Hundreds of solicitors have resigned or aren't providing criminal legal aid in response. The Law Society claims the number of cases being taken has already collapsed. The Minister says he won't back down, and he's with us now. Jim O'Callaghan, good morning and thank you for coming into studios.
You're welcome.
How is this row going to be resolved?
Well, first of all, I regret the fact that there is a row, but my focus on this and the focus of everyone involved in this dispute should be what's in the best interests of the public and what's in the best interest of the court users. I did research within the department of 350,000 criminal cases between 2022 and 2023, and it showed that the length of time it takes for a criminally legal aid funded case to be concluded was 5 appearances, whilst for non-criminally legal aid funded cases it was for 3 appearances. So because of that, that's the basis upon which I introduced the flat fee of €520, which gives recognition to the fact of there being 5 appearances.
OK, now, you're accusing solicitors of making criminal aid cases longer with more appearances to make more money compared to private cases. Do you accept that legal aid cases deal with people who often have very chaotic lives, are homeless, don't show for every court appearances, need more reports and supports for addiction or mental illness compared to those who can pay, will show up and get it over with as soon as possible? And a flat fee isn't going to make those cases any faster.
I'm not accusing solicitors of anything, and I recognise the very important role they play in the administration of justice. But my changes are designed to ensure that the system within the district court is speeded up. Remember, the district court is where...
How will that speed it up?
Because the district court is where summary offences are dealt with, minor offences are dealt with. And if it is the case that somebody is being paid on the basis of adjournments, every time a case is adjourned you get paid more, inevitably applications for adjournments are going to increase and people are going to not object to adjournments if they're being applied for. But I fully accept, by the way, that the state in many instances is the cause of applications for adjournments.
Where's the evidence that it's defence solicitors who are asking for or responsible for these adjournments?
There's recognition that if you look at the applications for adjournments, I accept there'll be applications made by the state, by the guards, and there'll be applications made by the defence solicitor. That's unquestionably the case. The problem, however, is because there is a system whereby you're paid for each adjourned date, there's an incentive for the matter to be adjourned. If the state is looking for an adjournment in cases...
That's your assessment. Let me finish the point. Where's the evidence that defence solicitors are asking for those adjournments?
There is clear evidence that adjournments are made either on the basis... The courts do not record whether or not an application for an adjournment is made by a prosecution or it's made by... Let me finish the point. The court service does not record the basis upon which who makes the application for an adjournment. But what it does record is the number of appearances and the number of adjournments that take place in district court. And the document that is up on the district court website, on the Department of Justice website, reveals the extensive number of adjournments in criminal cases in the district court.
But solicitors say that your review contains no hard evidence or data that this is the fault of defence solicitors. They say it's very often the prosecution asking for adjournments because cases are not ready to go on, for example, because Garda witnesses can't attend.
Everyone accepts, Gavin, as well, that the
Have you put any measures...
Sorry, you've got to let me speak.
I haven't finished asking the question.
I haven't finished answering the question either. Everyone accepts that when it comes to adjournments, that applications are made by the prosecution for adjournments, but also by the accused for adjournments. There's no doubt about that.
Have you put any measures in place to stop the prosecution looking for so many adjournments?
The request for adjournments needs to be dealt with much more stringently, and it should not be happening on the routine basis that it is happening now. By changing the fee structure, and I have responsibility for the fee structure, my view is that by changing the fee structure, it will reduce the incentive to seek or to agree to adjournments.
If solicitors were found to be abusing the system, as you make that claim, have they been reported or investigated?
The system that exists under the regulations at present permits, in exceptional circumstances, for good reasons, for solicitors to apply for more than one certificate for one accused who's before the district court. So, for instance, if an individual is charged with 15 counts of theft, what's happening at present is that a solicitor is sharing the 15 charges around the solicitor's firm and ensuring that there's the fee of 240 for each count. Now, that is permissible under the rules at present. I have to change that. I'm not prepared to allow that system to continue, and that's why I'm changing it.
You made a comment at a recent Oireachtas committee that really annoyed solicitors in response to a question from Sinn Féin's Mark Ward. Let's hear it.
So, for example, I don't know, you mentioned yourself you're 30 years of practising at the bar for 30 years. Like, what was your flat rate for an hour?
I was told when I was very young, crime doesn't pay. I didn't do any criminal work at the bar. That's what I'm doing. But in terms of a two-tier system, can I just say to you, the two-tier system at present does operate. Because there's a two-tier system between those that have criminal legal aid and those that don't have criminal legal aid, because the latter, they are heard on average on 3 appearances. They're the statistics that I've presented to you. Okay. And in terms of the former, they go on for 5 appearances.
I'm sure you know that angered solicitors. It was doing the rounds on a lot of their WhatsApp groups before they held their first walkout. Was it wise for you as a minister to make such a remark during a dispute over pay for criminal law?
Can I say to you, when I started as a barrister 30 years ago, it was the case that criminal work wasn't paid very well at the bar. That has now changed significantly. And as you can see from the criminal legal aid lists that are published for solicitors and indeed barristers, it is now a well remunerated system. And I welcome that. But the reason why I'm introducing these measures is not because I'm trying to be antagonistic towards the financial interests of solicitors. I'm trying to improve the system for the public and for the court user.
But you, the state, have to provide people with legal representation to ensure that they get a fair trial. Solicitors are not obliged to work with the free legal aid scheme. Is there any way that you can back down, change your mind, or compromise to sort this out?
Can I just say to you, first of all, that the reason, when you look at the statistics, why it's an imperative that these changes are introduced. In 2015, there was 19 million spent on the criminal legal aid system in the district court. Last year, that increased by 100% to 40 million. Notwithstanding the fact that the number of criminal cases in the district court has declined from 391,000 cases to 343. Listen, I've been presented...
Sorry, Minister, in your own review, you acknowledge that the increase in crimes that attract criminal legal aid appearing in the district court, it's increased. There might have been a decrease in those. There's been an increase in cases that attract criminal aid. That's why there's been an increase in spending.
I know.
Your own review acknowledges that.
And also because of the multiple certificates that are issued for one accused who's before the district court, that has also increased the number of certificates. Listen, can I say to you, it's been presented as though I'm intransigent and won't meet. I engaged with the Law Society. I met them in May. My officials met them in January, March and June of this year. The first time I got a request since I introduced the regulations to meet with the Law Society was last night. I will meet with them. I have no difficulty meeting with them. And I'm sure there are some areas in terms of where they can make points to me that I will accept and engage with them.
They say they wrote to you in June asking for meaningful engagement?
Since the regulations were introduced in July, I have had no communication from them other than to meet in respect of civil legal aid, a different system. But my officials met them in May. My officials met them in June. My officials met them in March.
Are you going to meet with them?
I have no difficulty meeting with them. But in fairness to me, and it's not about me, if they don't ask me to meet them, it's difficult for me to say I have to come meet. And they need to be able to say what method do they want to change within the system. But I have to say to you this, like I look at things like split payments, because one of the issues that they've raised is that the 520 is only paid at the end of the case. I look at issues in terms of the children's court because I can understand there may be changes in respect to that. But what I won't do is I'm not going to go back to the old system whereby multiple certificates can be issued to solicitors who are representing this one accused before the district court.
E-scooters, how are you going to regulate their use?
Well, we're going to regard them as mechanically propelled vehicles, and in the same way as other mechanically propelled vehicles have to be licensed, insured and taxed.
Like cars?
Like cars, like motorbikes, and it's going to be, you have to be 18 years of age or over to drive them.
When's that going to happen?
Minister Canny is bringing a memorandum to government next week, and there'll be legislative changes required, so it'll be done promptly. But it is important to point out, Gavin, that the Gardaí are still vigorously involved in apprehending people who are on e-scooters driving them
Have
dangerously.
they the powers to pursue people on e-scooters?
They do, and they very much welcome the fact that yesterday the Dublin crime response team used the drone unit for the first time in Garda Síochána to help seize 11 e-scooters, 2 e-bikes and 1 scrambler. So the Gardaí are using very different and modern methods of pursuit in terms of trying to seize vehicles which are being driven dangerously, or scramblers, which, as you know, are unlawful in public places.
Before I let you go, prison officers are balloting today on industrial action at a time when the most recent Inspector of Prisons report says that Irish prisoners are living in worsening, inhumane and degrading conditions, a national disgrace, according to the report. Are you going to pay them more?
Well, in terms of the prisons, I commend the work that's been done by prison officers. It is a difficult job. In terms of the numbers in prison, we have 5,772 in custody. I'm going to Clover Hill after these interviews to sign a contract for the building of a new block. It'll provide capacity for 270 new prisoners. But when it comes to negotiations with public sector workers, like, I can't go in and just decide I'm going to pay the guards and prison officers higher rate of pay. That's a matter for public sector pay talks and Minister Chambers.
Jim O'Callaghan, Minister for Justice, thank you very much for coming into our studio today.